Zara Mitchell arrived at Pulse nightclub just before midnight, her custom-embroidered VIP pass tucked under her wristband like a secret talisman. The line stretched around the block, the thrum of bass pulsing from within, and neon lights flickering across damp pavement. She stepped forward to the velvet rope, handed her laminated credentials to the stern-faced bouncer, and offered a polite smile. He scanned the pass for an uncomfortably long moment, brow furrowing. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he said, voice flat. "Your name's not on the list. Have a good night." Before she could protest, he twisted on a handheld scanner that emitted a harsh red glow, and the rope tightened, barring her entry. Zara's heart thundered. She peered past him into the club's glowing entrance. Inside, dancers swayed beneath strobing lights, and on the mezzanine, the resident DJ dropped a deep house groove. She tapped her pass against the scanner again. No change. She produced her emailed confirmation on her phone. The bouncer flicked it aside. "We run on our system," he said. Humiliation and anger surged through her. The invitation she'd secured weeks ago, through her agent by name, had vanished into the club's bureaucratic void. She watched guests with lesser status glide past her, eyes bright with anticipation, oblivious to her indignation. The doorman's unwavering gaze made it clear. She was an outsider here, unworthy of even the briefest audition. She pressed a hand to the cool metal of the rope, the pulse in her wrist mirroring the club's beat. Every fiber of her being rebelled against this gatekeeper's decree. Zara had spent years honing her craft, spinning records in underground bars, producing original mixes that racked up millions of streams online, and building a passionate local following. Yet here she was, locked out of the very stage she deserved. As the bass line dropped inside, the crowd roared with each thump of the kick drum. Zara pressed her ear against the rope, letting the music electrify her veins. In that moment, she vowed she would not be silenced by a missing name on a list. If Pulse wouldn't open its doors to her tonight, she would find a way to make her presence felt, louder than any velvet rope or bouncer could contain. Well past midnight, after the last guest had been turned away, Zara slipped through a side gate onto the club's rooftop terrace. The air was cool and still, the city lights twinkling like distant stars below. She hauled her 2 flight cases, one containing her Pioneer DJ controller and the other her compact PA speakers, onto the concrete, their edges scuffing against the gravel as she set them down. Unzipping the cases, she laid out her equipment with deliberate care. First came the controller, its jog wheels gleaming under the moonlight. She connected it to her 13-inch laptop, booting up her Serato library of custom edits and unreleased tracks. Next, she placed the speakers on adjustable stands, angling them toward the empty alleyway below to let the sound spill out across the block. A single extension cord snaked from the rooftop down to an unlocked electrical box, a careful risk, but one she'd scoped the night before. With cables secured, Zara popped in a flash drive containing her signature mix, a blend of deep house bass lines, Latin percussion, and soulful vocal samples. She put on her headphones, adjusted her levels, and hit the play button. The first track pulsed through the speakers with crisp clarity, the beat rolling across the rooftop and dipping into the streets below. She dropped the tempo to match the familiar midnight groove, an entrancing rhythm she'd crafted late at night in her studio apartment months ago. As the bass line locked into place, she fumbled for her phone and went live on Instagram, framing the city skyline behind her. "Pulse wouldn't let me in," she announced, voice calm but carried by the thumping bass. "So I brought the party to you." Within minutes, comments scrolled up her feed. "Where are you? Turn it up. I'm outside." Encouraged, Zara began to mix in a soaring remix of a classic R&B vocal, the refrain, "Let the music set you free," looping over the throbbing beat. She reached for her mixer's filter knob and swept it low, letting the mids bloom and the hi-hats sizzle like fireworks. Each twist of the knob painted broad strokes of sound across the night air. Down below, passers-by paused, craning their necks to locate the source of the pulsing rhythm. A few took out their phones, filming the speakers perched on the rooftop edge. Zara glanced behind her and saw faint silhouettes, a group of street dancers who had recognized her signature blend. They began to practice moves on a lower ledge, a head spin here, a pop and lock sequence there, translating her beats into kinetic art. Emboldened, Zara cued her next track, an unreleased bootleg so fresh that no one but her inner circle had heard it. Its driving four-on-the-floor beat dropped like thunder, and the rooftop dancers broke into synchronized choreography. Their shadows flickered across the corrugated metal walls as they moved, their energy electrifying the moment. Zara leaned into her controller, adjusting the gain and looping a vocal hook. She smiled as she peeled off her jacket, feeling the night's cool breeze mix with the warmth of the speakers. Below, the dancers' cheers echoed up to her, mingling with the music in a spontaneous rooftop rave unlike anything the club's velvet rope entry could offer. As the clock edged toward dawn, Zara's mix built to a crescendo, layer upon layer of rhythm, melody, and soul. On Instagram Live, the viewer count soared, thousands tuning in, hungry for every drop. The city around her began to stir, early shift workers emerging, night owls drawn from their bars, and even the club's own security guards pausing at the rooftop door, jaws slack as the forbidden beats washed over them. In that electric moment, Zara realized she hadn't just rehearsed, she had manifested her stage. The rooftop had become her sanctuary, the city her dance floor, and her solo performance a clarion call that no gate, no lost invitation could ever silence. And as she wound down the final track, the first hints of sunrise painting the sky, she knew the dawn would bring a spectacle the club's owners could no longer ignore. By the time the fourth track faded into its echoing tail, Zara knew her solo rooftop set had captivated more than just curious passers-by. It had ignited a creative spark among the neighborhood's underground artists. As she powered down her controller for a brief respite, three figures emerged from the shadows at the back of the terrace. A tall graffiti artist known as Echo, a percussion-driven busker called Marlowe, and a leader of the street dance crew, Aya. Their eyes glowed with excitement. Echo hoisted a battered Bluetooth speaker and placed it near the terrace's edge, unzipping his backpack for cans of fluorescent spray paint. "Your beats need to color these walls, Zara," he said, voice warm with admiration. With confident flicks of his wrist, he began tagging the brick surface with bold, abstract shapes that pulsed outward from the speaker. Vibrant neon lines that seemed to dance in synchronization with the bass. Marlowe set down a portable cajon drum next to the main speaker rack. He tapped out a snare-like rhythm on its wooden face, his hands dancing with practiced precision, adding live, syncopated percussion to Zara's deep house bass. Each tap and slap melded perfectly with her looped hi-hats, creating a polyrhythmic tapestry that rippled through the night air. Meanwhile, Aya marshaled her dancers at the corner of the rooftop. Under the glow of a single floodlight, they crouched in formation before springing into fluid, gravity-defying routines. A headspin, a series of popping isolations, and a gravity lean so extreme spectators across the block could only gasp. Their movements were their answer to Zara's music, a kinetic graffiti that told stories of resilience and freedom. As the trio improvised alongside her next mix, a bootleg remix blending Afrobeat rhythms and deep house bass, Zara adjusted her crossfader, balancing live percussion with her programmed synth stabs. She keyed her phone's audio output jack, feeding the combined signal into Echo's Bluetooth speaker and the club's external PA, effectively hacking every audio source in the vicinity. Marlowe and Aya cheered each beat drop, their energy infusing her performance with raw, communal electricity. Echo's mural blossomed into a living tapestry, a massive pair of stylized wings that seemed to flap in time with the bass. A loose-leaf sketch of a turntable spun at the center, its vinyl grooves rippling outward like sound waves. Below it, the words, "No ropes, just rhythm," emerged in block letters. Every spray accounted for the beat's tempo, quick staccato tags for the snares, slow arcs of paint for the sustained sub-bass. Marlowe's drumming crescendoed into syncopated breaks between Zara's drops, pushing dancers to execute windmills and freezes at punctuated intervals. His cajon became a second heartbeat, human and organic against the digital precision of Zara's controller. Aya wove through the dancers, guiding them into call and response formations that mirrored the musical phrases, each pirouette and slide accentuating her live performance. Word of the rooftop rave spread rapidly. From their vantage point on the terrace, the group spotted dozens of phones raised on the sidewalk below, their camera lights twinkling like fireflies. The hacked billboard audio feed, now carrying Echo's art, Marlowe's percussion, and Aya's street dance, blared through the alleyways, transforming a silent residential block into an open-air cathedral of sound. Zara closed her eyes, letting the synergy wash over her. The raw paint strokes on brick, the tactile thump of the cajon, the dancers breathing in rhythm with her tracks. Each collaborator had amplified her signal, not just technically, but artistically, transforming her solitary stunt into a communal explosion of creativity. In that moment, the rooftop was no longer a hidden stage. It was the nexus of an underground movement, proving that when artists unite beyond institutional doors, they can broadcast a force too powerful to be ignored. As the first pale fingers of dawn stretched across the city skyline, Zara Mitchell knew the moment had arrived. She wiped the sweat from her brow and glanced at her phone. 4:58 a.m. Her live stream on Pulse's VIP audio channel, hacked the night before, would activate at 5:00. Below the rooftop, the club's PA system had been secretly patched into the alleyway speakers. Guests inside, still lingering from last night's finale, would awaken to her mixing. At 5 sharp, Zara hit Go Live on her streaming app and simultaneously triggered a low-pass filter on her controller, unleashing a deep, resonant sub-bass that rippled through the rooftop speakers and dove down into the club's corridors. Moments later, surprised murmurs rose from Pulse's interior, patrons reaching for their glasses, phones lighting up, and the resident DJ pausing mid-mix as the venue's speakers shuddered with a sound not in his playlist. Zara transitioned seamlessly into her signature track, a custom edit layering Afro house percussion over velvet pads and a sultry vocal loop. With practiced precision, she looped the refrain, "Your heartbeat is the rhythm," and dialed in a rising filter sweep that sent goosebumps through her own arms. She watched the live viewer count climb past 15,000, VIPs in Pulse's lounge, early morning joggers outside, and loyal fans who had tuned in after spotting the rooftop dancers' feed. Downstairs, the resident DJ finally regained his console and tried to counter-mix, but the feed was too strong. Zara's signal commandeered every channel. Security guards at the turntables froze, knocking over a vinyl crate as the room pivoted to face the club's monitors, which now displayed Zara's Instagram live feed. Her silhouette against dawn, joggers passing in the street below, Echo's neon mural, visible on the brick wall behind her. Inside Pulse, the VIP mezzanine emptied as guests surged toward the main floor, where club staff scrambled to mute the rogue feed but failed. The lights dimmed, and a tense hush fell over the crowd as Zara's track built to its first drop, a crisp snare roll leading into a thunderous four-on-the-floor kick. The bass shook the mirrored walls, and in that electric silence, a single voice yelled, "Who is this?" Zara saw her chat explode with users tagging the club's social media handle. "I Pulse DJ, who is this?" "I Management, fix your feed." "Zara Mitchell is taking over." At the rooftop, Marlowe's distant cajon taps, streamed in stereo, added a live percussive counterpoint, and Echo's mural glowed behind Zara like a neon sunrise. She cued a melodic breakdown, looping a guest vocalist's hook. "We rise where they try to hold us down." The words reverberated through the club, and patrons pressed against the DJ booth, craning to glimpse the source. Inside, an impromptu surge of energy erupted. Guests who had come to mingle and drink now danced in place, their bodies waking to the unanticipated set. The club's official DJ, sidelined but gracious, smiled and threw his hands up, motioning approval before rejoining Zara's feed with a sly mix that blended his record crate with her live stream. As the sun breached the horizon, painting the club's dance floor in amber light, Zara dropped her finale, an unreleased anthem with a stomping bass line and a chorus that united every collaborator. Locked out at midnight, but by dawn we stand. United, the drop landed like a sonic exclamation point. The crowd erupted, cheers, stomping feet, and raised phones flashing like a galaxy of stars. On the rooftop, Zara watched the alley below fill with silhouettes against the club's glass facade. A visitor from a top-tier talent agency, recognized in the VIP crowd, slipped out and waved up at her in astonishment. As the track decayed, Zara brought the filter back up, allowing the final echoes of her set to fade. She hit end stream, and a roar of approval carried up to the rooftop. The early morning wind caught the edges of Echo's mural, and Marlowe's faint drum accents drifted upward like a benediction. Zara exhaled, her heart still pounding. She had done more than broadcast a sunrise mix. She had turned exclusion into empowerment and filled the very club that locked her out. As the rooftop dancers took one last bow beneath the rising sun, Zara realized that by dawn, her solo performance had rewritten the rules. In music as in life, real power belongs to those who refuse to be silenced. That afternoon, as the last echoes of her sunrise rooftop set faded into the early morning light, Zara Mitchell was packing up her gear when her phone buzzed insistently. The caller ID displayed an unknown number with a +1 212 area code. She answered, still cradling her DJ controller. "Zara Mitchell?" came the smooth voice of Victor Santos, a veteran talent scout for Redline Promotions. "I caught your live stream this morning. That rooftop performance, unheard of, raw, and you had the entire Pulse audio system in the palm of your hand." Zara's heart skipped. I didn't know anyone major was watching." "We were," Santos replied. "My partner, Lena Park, she's the VP of Aurora Concerts. She's already on the way here to meet you. We want you to headline tonight's show at Meridian Arena. It's sold out, 5,000 seats. We need an opener and then a full set. Can you do it?" Zara pressed her lips together, adrenaline surging. Meridian Arena was the city's premier venue, where only established stars performed. "Tonight?" she asked, voice breathless. "I can be there." "Great," said Santos. "We'll send a car in 10 minutes. Be ready." Within moments, a black SUV arrived, waiting against the brick alleyway where she'd staged her rebel set. Inside, Lena Park, a sharply dressed woman with a clipboard and an easy smile, greeted Zara. "Victor called," Park said, handing over an earpiece and a laminated access pass. "You'll go in the VIP entrance here, then backstage. The arena's sound crew will integrate your set into their board. We need you on stage by 8:30 p.m. Zara nodded, fastening the pass to her belt. Her DJ backpack, containing her favorite needles, effects pedals, and flash drives, felt simultaneously light and impossibly heavy. At Meridian Arena that evening, the lobby's marble floors glowed under crystal chandeliers, and the sold-out crowd of 5,000 buzzed with anticipation. Flashing lights from concession stands cast rainbow reflections across the polished surfaces. Backstage, Zara was led through winding corridors where security guards checked her pass at every turn. She passed a green room stocked with energy drinks and artisanal snacks that seemed incongruous next to the graffiti-stained rooftop where she'd rehearsed hours before. At 8:15 p.m., Park escorted Zara to the soundcheck area beneath the main stage. The house engineer, Malik, raised an eyebrow as he adjusted levels on the massive mixing console. "Ready to rock?" he asked, sliding in a USB stick. He cued Zara's signature sunrise anthem. With a nod, Zara stepped to her deck and dropped the first beat. The cavernous arena trembled with her custom mix, a thunderous fusion of deep house and Afro-beat percussion. Malik's faders moved in sympathy, and beneath them, a bank of subwoofers rumbled like distant thunder. Park emerged at the stage wing and spoke into her headset. "Audience is chanting for her. Get ready." Moments later, the house lights dimmed, and a spotlight traced Zara's silhouette as she strode to the center of the stage. The arena erupted in cheers so loud they rattled her chest. She steadied herself, dropped the tempo to her Midnight Groove remix, and let the crowd's energy fuel her performance. For the next 75 minutes, Zara commanded the arena like a seasoned headliner. She manipulated loops and samples with precision, layering live Cajun rhythms, courtesy of a surprise guest, Marlowe, over her deep bass lines. Electric dancers from Aya's crew took the stage mid-set, their silhouettes lit by synchronized strobes, mirroring the rooftop choreography but magnified to monumental scale. Echo's Neon Wing mural had been recreated in massive LED panels behind her, pulsing with every drop. At one point, Zara held a sustained chord and cued a vocal callback. "Locked out at midnight, but by dawn we stand united." 5,000 voices roared back in perfect unison. She watched the crowd surge in waves of motion, arms raised, bodies swaying, a living testament to her defiance turned triumph. As she mixed into her finale, a high-octane mashup of her unreleased anthem and a classic house break, confetti cannons exploded overhead, showering the stage in metallic streamers. The final bass drop landed like a seismic event, and the arena shook with ecstatic applause. The lights came up at 9:50 p.m., and Zara took her bow, breathless and elated. Backstage, Park and Santos congratulated her as the arena's noise still pulsed around them. Santos grinned and slapped her shoulder. "Tonight, you turned exclusion into empowerment for 5,000 people. That's the kind of headline we all need." As Zara left the stage, she glanced at her controller and then at the roaring crowd through the stage's edge. In the span of a single dawn, she had gone from being locked out to headlining the arena, transforming her solo rooftop stunt into a performance that no velvet rope could ever contain. In the bright glare of the following morning's publicity photos, Zara Mitchell found herself at the polished mahogany conference table of Pulse nightclub's corporate offices, ironically the very venue whose bouncers had locked her out just days before. Flanked by Victor Santos from Redline Promotions and Lena Park of Aurora Concerts, Zara signed a lucrative headline contract, a 2-album recording deal with Vega Records, plus a year-long residency at Meridian Arena and guest slots at 3 major music festivals abroad. The contract's fine print detailed advances, royalties, and guaranteed performance fees. $100,000 to produce her debut LP, escalating to $150,000 in tour support. 15% artist royalties on album sales and streaming. 10 nights at Meridian Arena over 6 months at $50,000 per show, plus VIP treatment at Ultrafest, Rhythm Wave, and Global Groove festivals. Zara initialed each page, her breath catching at the sight of her name in bold as the featured artist on the promotional rider. As she signed, Aurora's head of talent development, Marisol Vega, outlined the marketing campaign. A Dawn of Zara single release timed for sunrise streams. A neighborhood vinyl drop scavenger hunt seated in the alleys where her rooftop rave had erupted, and a Pulse open stage initiative permitting local DJs 1 open mic night per month to audition for the club's official lineup. Vega stressed that Pulse's new policy would transform its image from exclusive fortress to community hub, inviting talent previously shut out to claim their spotlight. Afterwards, Zara moved to a back office where Victor Santos and a team of lawyers hashed out performance clauses, crowd size guarantees, stage production budgets, and co-branding opportunities with streetwear labels that had clamored to sponsor her. Emergent brand. Zara negotiated for creative control over her album's production, insisting on retaining final say on mix edits and music videos, ensuring her authentic sound wouldn't be compromised by corporate interests. By midday, she returned to Meridian Arena to finalize stage design with the lighting and AV directors. They reviewed renderings of Echo's Neon Wing mural magnified into a 60-foot LED backdrop and discussed integrating Marlowe's live percussion mic feeds into the arena's surround sound array. Zara insisted on placing performance cameras in the dancers' rehearsal space to capture Aya's crew's choreography up close for the official concert film, a testament to the collaborative spirit that had propelled her to this moment. That evening, Zara joined Aya, Echo, and Marlowe for a celebratory rooftop dinner, this time on the arena's adjoining terrace, secured with proper access. Over shared plates of street food tacos and spiced rice, they toasted their unlikely ascent, from improvised rooftop jam to headlining global events. Echo raised his cup of artisanal cold brew, declaring, "We took our city's back alleys to center stage." Marlowe added a toast on his cajon, a rapid 16th note roll that reverberated like applause. Aya concluded with a dancer's salute, hand to forehead, then arm extended upward, signifying readiness for what lay ahead. As the sun dipped below the skyline, Zara reflected on the whirlwind transformation, the humiliation of being locked out, the rooftop rebellion that went viral, and now a fully negotiated major label deal and institutional reform at the club that had spurned her. Pulse's new open stage nights would guarantee a platform for underserved talent, her legacy of inclusion enshrined in policy. In her final email before bed, Zara drafted the first newsletter to her growing fan base, a personal recounting of her journey and an invitation to the inaugural open stage night at Pulse. She clicked send and leaned back, the city's lights flickering around her. From exile at the Velvet Rope to architect of a cultural shift, Zara understood that her story had become more than a solo performance. It was a blueprint for turning rejection into opportunity and for transforming any closed door into an open invitation to rise. When the first open stage night at Pulse nightclub arrived, Zara Mitchell stood on the deck of the very main floor where she had once been barred entry. The velvet rope had been removed entirely, replaced by a bright marquee reading Pulse Open Stage, All Are Welcome. Beneath the neon glow, a line of aspiring DJs, rappers, and spoken-word artists wound around the block, their anticipation humming, louder than any bass line. Zara mounted the stage just before midnight, her silhouette framed by the pulsing lights and the thrum of the house sound system. She opened with a warm smile and a simple announcement. "Tonight we celebrate every voice that was once locked out." Then she handed the microphone to the first performer, a local producer whose SoundCloud tracks had never earned him a single live slot. As he dropped a raw, garage-influenced beat, the crowd surged forward in encouragement, every cheer a counterpoint to the exclusion Zara had once faced. Throughout the 2-hour showcase, Zara moved seamlessly between hosting duties and surprise collaborative sets. She invited the graffiti artist Echo to paint live on a transparent backdrop behind the DJ booth, transforming blank space into a kinetic mural that evolved with each track. Mid-set, she brought Marlowe's cajon on stage, weaving live percussion into her own deep house remixes. Dancers from Aya's crew illuminated the floor with breakneck routines, their shadows dancing on the LED wall behind them. Word of the event spread beyond the city. Streams of video highlights racked up millions of views across social media platforms, and music publications ran feature stories headlined, "Pulse Reborn, How One Night Ignited a Cultural Revolution." The general manager of Pulse announced a permanent policy. Every month, one night would be reserved for open stage performers chosen by public vote, an enduring invitation born from Zara's defiance. In the months that followed, Zara's influence rippled across the music industry. Other clubs adopted similar open stage nights, record labels launched Locked Out No More showcases, and local arts councils provided grants to fund youth music programs in underserved neighborhoods. Zara herself toured internationally, headlining festivals that emblazoned her open stage ethos on their banners, from exclusion to expression. Back at Pulse, Zara returned 1 year later to headline the Open Stage's anniversary gala. The arena was sold out, every ticket a testament to the movement she had catalyzed. As she dropped the opening beat, a remix of her first rooftop anthem, the crowd's roar enveloped her. She watched dancers and guest artists fill the stage, each carrying the torch she had lit, their performances echoing the creative solidarity that had driven her from locked-out outsider to icon. After the final note faded, Zara took the mic one last time. "This night belongs to all of you," she said, her voice steady over a sea of cell phone lights. "Every time you share your art, you break down another wall. Keep pushing, keep creating, and remember, no door can ever truly keep out the beat of your passion." The applause that followed was thunderous, proof that her solo performance had become more than a personal triumph. It had unlocked the doors for an entire generation of artists.